afternoon's webinar looking at the equities area in the iRate website. My name's Hannah Bevan. I'm the Client Services and Training Manager and we'll be taking you through today's session. Just before we start, if you have any issues viewing my screen, which currently should be looking at the Lonsec Equities Research page or hearing me, you can please just send through a question to me now on the panel that you have on your screen. Okay, so I don't see any questions coming through, so we seem to be okay on that front. So as we work through today's session, please feel free to send me through any questions that you do have. I'll try and answer them as we work through. Alternatively, I will also have time for questions at the end of the session today. So the purpose of this is to make you more familiar with our internal equities research process, which was launched about just over about 12 months ago now, and is a slightly different approach to the traditional buy, sell, hold research that you may be familiar with. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking through our investment approach, and then we'll move on to how you can actually use the equity search features and build that information into portfolios as well. So our research approach is set out to answer three key questions. What to buy, which we look at by the rating, whether it's approved or not approved. Why should I buy it? So this is the risk profile. Are you looking for an income or growth stream from particular stocks? And then when should I buy it? So this is the action signal. Is a stock undervalued, overvalued? And it's a bit more in line with that traditional buy, sell, hold valuation you'd be looking at when you're ratings for funds. So our research methodology and process follows a structured framework, and it's assessing about over 200,000 actual and forecast data points to come up with the actual ratings and determine those profiles for a stock. So we covered just the ASX 200 universe, and with our quant modelling, which we're looking through 10 years of historical and consensus data, we'll determine the income risk profile and the growth risk profile for each stock. From that, we will then determine the rating. So this is the what should you buy. So we have approved, which is basically looking at about 80% of the ASX 200 will have an approved rating, and the remainder will have a not approved or non-investment grade rating. For those stocks that we then approve, we look at the action signal, and we're saying, is the stock currently undervalued, fairly valued, or overvalued? And this is based on the current financial year analysis and the forecast for the next 2 financial years. So that just gives you a very high-level overview of our research process. As I say, it is a fairly different approach. It's been designed in mind more for you, the advisor and your clients, so that you can be looking at the longer-term holdings that generally you will have in particular stocks, and you're not having to look at those more regular changes between a buy and a sell approach with the traditional equities research. So for full details on the research approach, you can access this document we're looking at on screen now when you're in the equities research area. It's just available here under the research methodology tab. So searching for stocks is quite an easy way you can do this. There's a number of different approaches you can take. You can simply enter the stock name, so you can enter in a particular stock name that you may be looking for, and then you can just press search. In this case, it's brought up the results for Wesfarmers Limited. Or if I just clear this search result, you can also just enter the ASX codes, and you can enter multiple ASX codes into this space. So you can see I'm typing them here just literally with the space between them, no commas or anything are required. I just hit the search button and it will return those results for me. You're also able to copy and paste ASX codes from a Word or Excel document straight into that search box, and again, you don't need to do any formatting or anything, it will look them all up for you. As well as being able to search using key criteria here, keywords, you can use the ratings and the other filters on the left-hand side. You can use those with a keyword, or you can just use them on their own. So perhaps you're actually looking at defining a new universe or watch list of approved stocks. So we're looking for approved, and we're looking for ones that have got an attractive income stream. So for that reason, we're looking for ones that are currently undervalued or seen as fairly valued. You can also search by the GIC sector if you wanted to. You wanted to restrict that search in that area. You can also search by the index size as well. So if you did just want to restrict that to say the S&P ASX 100, you can do that from here. If I hit search, and there's the search results there. So there are 14 stocks that are suiting that criteria have been approved, attractive income, currently undervalued or fairly valued, and they're sitting within the ASX 100. It's going to minimize the search box, clicking on these double black arrows, so you can see everything on the screen a bit easier. So with the search results, you can see we've got basic information across the screen here you can look at, such as the latest price information, and we update all the data in the site every night. This is the information as at market close yesterday. We've got market cap data, forecast yield, forecast ratio. If you want other detailed key biometrics that you want to look at for these particular stocks, you can just click on these customized columns on the top, and you can choose the other data you want to see, or you can also click select all, and you see it's now downloaded all of that information on the screen for me. You can change the sort order of your results as well. So perhaps you want to look at the growth profiles. I click on this header here. You can see it's changed my sort order. To export this data into Excel or use it for the stock viewpoint, you can click anywhere in a stock line, it moves it to your selected area, or you can also click select all. And then once they're in here, your selected area, you can then export this information into Excel or Word. And everything across the site where you see those export buttons comes out in an easy to read format and print ready, as you can see here. The other option you also have within the top menus here is create a watch list. Now, a watch list works similar to perhaps the product groups or the portfolios you may be familiar with from the old Lonzex site, and essentially it just stores a core list of funds or equities stocks that you want to look at on a regular basis, so you don't have to keep searching for them every time. So perhaps in this case we're just going to look at, we just need to give the watch list a name, so the income ASX 100 for example, create. And that watch list is now being created for me and saved so I can use in the future. You can manage your watch list also under your name at the top. Just go through to my watch list. Load existing. Pick that watch list from here. And then you can add or remove buttons from here. So if you want to remove some items from that watch list, you don't want them there any longer, you can delete stocks, just confirm, and you can also add further stocks in the future as well, clicking on the Add Shares button. If I jump back to equities research, you would have noticed also in the search criteria when we were first looking on the search menu on the left-hand side, here, you've also got watch list. This just means the next time I come in, I don't have to search for that information. I can simply just select that watch list, click search, and it's brought up those 11 products in my watch list for me. So that just gives you an idea of the different ways you can actually use this information and store it, and I will also show that to you within the portfolio construction tool. To start viewing all the research and further information on a stock, again, you just need to move into your selected area, and you can select as many as you like into here. Once you're in selected, you come to stock viewpoint, and this is the information, then this is the research and how we've put this research together for you. So it starts with just the basic information about the stocks, this ASX code in latest market cap price. We've got then the profiles, so we look at them from attractive income right the way through to inferior income, and for each one we mark where it's sitting within this quadrant based on its yield and risk. So you can see for vicinity centres sitting here in attractive income. On exactly the same, we work on the growth profile, so you can see we've got a low growth profile for this particular stock. So that's the what are you going to invest in, and then we've got here when are you going to invest our action signal. So as I said, the price you see here is based on the current and the next two financial year snapshots, plus or minus 10% to say where we believe the stock is undervalued or overvalued, and then this triangle here represents the latest stock price that you were looking at up here. So you can see that we're saying that vicinity centres is fairly valued at present. Also give you a qualitative overlay with business snapshot and our investment view. Share price, so these charts you see on the screen are interactive. You can hover them over the cursor and get any point. You can also drill down to different periods. You just simply click on the periods across the top to look at performance, and you've got your forecast returns. The second page, key financial metrics, that just provides you some of the quant analysis. So these are some of the key areas we're looking at when we're deriving these data and putting this research together for you in the ratings. So for growth, for example, looking at sales growth, the EPS, on income we're looking at yield and dividend growth. We're also looking at the financial strength and the valuation. So all the grey lines or boxes you see is actually the historical returns. The white bars of what we're forecasting for the next 2 financial years. Any green shows you the peak value of stock at any time, and any red lines will show a negative value, which we've got a small one down here by way of example. So that information translates into a really nice then stock viewpoint document, which is ideal for use in a statement of advice, and you can download them using this button here. This is just the stock viewpoint. Again, this first one we brought up from our selection Mavic group. And you can see then what we look at the screen. Again, you've got your income profiles, or action signals, forecast returns, and the qualitative overlay. And then the second page is looking at those charts. Simple 2-page report for you there. You can also download, if we go back to the equity search button, the stock viewpoints individually just by clicking on the links next to each stock name. So that takes you through how you can search for particular products and bring up their information. Is there any questions on what I've shown you so far? Okay, I just had one question through asking how regularly the ratings change. Thank you very much for that question. So the overall approved, not approved rating will not change very often. So if we just clear all of our search history and we just bring up all the stocks, you can see that stocks move in and out the ASX 200 on a regular basis. So we are covering just slightly more than that. And with the approved, not approved ratings, they are monitored daily with all the new data. Generally, we are seen as holding those for a longer period. You may see the action signals change more regularly as stocks move along from that where they're fairly valued to undervalued, for example. But generally, you'll see a rating here will be held relatively long term. We may cease coverage on a stock, so you can see here we've got ceased coverage, and that's just because the stock has permanently moved outside the ASX 200. So we will remove our ratings from that. So we've got a few ceased coverage here, for example. And then the other one we've also got is under review. So if we have concerns about a particular stock, we can see some actual movement there and we're not sure on the impact on that. Again, we will put a stock on an under review rating, as you can see here with Covermore Group. And that just then lets you know that we are monitoring that stock more closely. So there's just other information you can access across the top here. So we have a corporate action journal. And the corporate action journal is updated as and when new corporate actions come in. So generally you'll see a new one on a sort of regular weekly basis. And it just goes through giving you the information about what the corporate action is, our views on that and our recommendations for you. So it's a detailed document. It's all available to you here, the most recent copy. As far as one of the most comprehensive information we have on corporate actions. Also have access to our Investment Insight Journal. So this is a quarterly publication, and it just gives you an overview of what's happened in the previous quarter, what we're seeing is the global economic outlook, domestic economic outlook, and what those trends we expect to have on the markets over the coming quarter and our model portfolios. So again, you all have access to the Investment Insight Journal as well. Both of them on these screens are just the most recent month-end journals. If you do want to go back and look at historic ones, you can do this under the Resource Hub, and we just go to Document Center. And then if we click on Type here, you can see we've got different listings of different types of documents we produce. If I select the Corporate Actions Journal, you can see now I can come through and I can look at all of these different corporate action journals dating back to December last year, and you can simply download them by clicking on the link on the right hand side. So that's another area within the site that you can come at any time to source not just the equities documents we produce, but any documents as well. So our market reports, our managed funds, model portfolio reports, so all that information is on this page for you as well. Jumping back to the equities research page, you will see that when we were there earlier, we created our watch list, and we can use these watch lists and other information on this in the portfolio construction tools as well. So you may have access to portfolio construction as part of your subscription, and that sits under Advisor Tools. At the moment, it's possible to add equities to existing portfolios with managed funds, or you can also create new ones. So we're just going to take an existing portfolio. We'll just take this one here, and we'll add some equities to this. We are doing some developments also in portfolio construction at the moment, and this will allow you to create equity-only portfolios, as well as with some enhanced reporting for equities reports, and also enhancing the current features when you're using managed funds and equities in portfolios as well. So we take this template, I can then add some shares, as you see here. And again, same as we were in the equities research page, I can simply just type in the AXX code, and it will bring up search results for those, as you can see there. I can search through and just pick them out of the list and just click on them and they will add. Or if I scroll to the bottom of this list, you can see I've got my watch list. So these are the watch lists we mentioned earlier, and you can create for a core group of funds you use on a regular basis. So if I just select that income watch list, you can see it's now added all of those stocks for me. The next stage you need to do then is just assign weightings to these particular stocks. So you can do that within this space here. You can just go through and add the individual weights, and then once you're comfortable with everything, you can just hit save. I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to load a different portfolio so I can show you how it works in a closed portfolio, because that one had nothing in it. So you can see I've got here a portfolio with managed funds in there, but say I perhaps want to add some shares as well to that. Again, I can just come in, add some shares. So if say we just assign some weights to these, I just need to decrease weights here. Once you're happy with your portfolio and everything is equal in 100%, you simply click save. And then from here you can then go through and produce a bespoke portfolio reports. So at the moment the portfolio reports are still very much managed funds focused, but as I mentioned, we are making changes to those in the next few weeks. So you click on portfolio report, and I can select the portfolio client report. At present you can just add the fund profiles, product profiles for managed funds, but you'll be able to add those stock viewpoints as well in time, and you just select that within here. Customize the date you want to report on, your name, you put your advisor, you put your client's name in, and you've also got the option to select a benchmark. So by default it's selecting a managed funds benchmark, but perhaps you just want to do it on a RBA cash rate plus 1%, for example. Generate the report, and this will then produce a nice 3-page report for your consolidated portfolio and its performance. Sorry, this one's just taken a little while to load. There we go. So you can see this is your portfolio report here. What we can also do is we can add your company logos to these reports, and it will just sit in this top right hand corner. So if that's something you would like to do and you have access to the portfolio tools, we just need you to email us a copy of your logo in JPEG format and we can get that sorted for you. So it just gives you the overall portfolio information, your returns after fees, and then just basic charts. We're looking here, growth of 10,000, snail trail, your asset allocation, risk return and frequency distribution of excess returns, quartile chart. Looking at style analysis, this is based just on the managed funds. Your overall regional analysis breakdown. And then you've got on the third page sample of the portfolio, so just looking at what the actual portfolio contains and its weightings and ICR costs. That's the portfolio report. Are there any questions on the portfolio construction area from anyone before I just move on and show you a couple of the other features we've recently launched in the Equities module? Okay, don't seem to have any questions at this stage. So I'm just going to flick back to the Equities module here. You'll notice we also now offer listed income research within the iRate site. So this is an additional subscription. Some of you may already have access to that. Essentially, searching works exactly the same as we were looking at in the equity search. You can use the AXX code or the company names. You can also search by the sectors, perhaps just interested in banks. You can look at our ratings, so you're just looking for our approved products. You can also look at risk assessment, issue type if you want to as well, distribution type, and the distribution frequency, as well as cash yield, where you enter what you think the minimum should be. So you can just enter any figure in there that you want to. And same with gross as well, minimum gross, and then your years to call, you can enter a maximum number. You don't have to complete all these criteria, you can put as few or as many as you like. You hit search. You can see I've now got 25 search results there. So for each of the listed income products, what we have is the viewpoint document. And it's again a 2-page document, just giving you a bit of information about the actual product and our rating information. You can also again select particular ones, so we've got one selected here, and I can start looking at the custom yield tables, and this allows me to select again any of the information I want to look at. So you can look at all columns, you can select all products, and you then get this information on the screen, and again fully exportable. It's also useful if we've got details on any upcoming distributions. And we've also got charts looking at the whole of the researched listed income site, Universe by Lonsec, and you can access that within here too. A bit more information on our research methodology is available here too, and the quarterly journal takes us back to just the quarterly one we do on the listed income. So a bit more information there if you are using hybrids or listed income products and you want to look at that in a bit more detail. Happy to arrange a trial for you if you don't currently have access. And finally, for some of you who used to use the lonsec.com site, you may be more familiar with our other research option by UBS Research. We have just launched that this week into the iRate website, so if you were still a subscriber to that and using the Lonsec site, we will have your access arranged for the UBS Research in the coming days, and we'll run through with you how that will work in this site as well. But essentially it's based on the same criteria and search filters as the Lonsec's own equity research options. So that finishes off everything I wanted to take you through today. Thank you very much for your time and taking in this call. If you do have any questions, I will stay on the line for a few more minutes so I can take those from you now. So please feel free to send those through. Otherwise, as you're using the site, if you do have any questions, you can contact the support team at any time. and our contact details are just on the screen here for iRate inquiries. Thank you very much for your time.